What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the Hot Seat. I got my boy in the building. Taylor Made Speaks. What's going on, Taylor?
What's going on? How you doing on today?
Man, listen, it's only Tuesday, dude. It seemed like it's been 5 weeks in one day, 2 days.
I know.
What is going on?
It is crazy, but
It has been wild.
it's all good.
It is all good. We ain't got no complaints, though. We ain't filing no complaints because God is still good, period.
All the time.
Period. And all the time, God is good.
Good.
So, guys, as you're coming in, come holler at myself and Taylor Made Speaks. This is this week's edition of the Hot Seat. I'm your hostess with the mostest, P. Koffe Brown. And Taylor Made Speaks is my honored co-host, which is on that side of the screen. And so each and every week, there is some kind of topic of discussion that we rock with. And lately, we have been doing things that have been airing in the not so good news in regards to relationships, family, all that good stuff. So be sure to like and share and follow us throughout these conversations as we discuss what's happening in the world in which we exist. So as you're coming in, go ahead, spread that wealth. Let others know that you're riding with us and rolling with us and hanging out with us on tonight. So tonight's topic is going to be a little bit interesting. As you guys know, I do some stuff on Instagram, and a lot of it tends to go viral. This particular clip that we're getting ready to share with you is one of those. It already has about 23,000 views, and we just posted it maybe 3 days ago, give or take. So it's got about 23,000 views, and people have been commenting kind of heavily in regards to the clip. So Steve Harvey has something to say about relationships, and I want you guys to hear what he had to say and what the buzz is all about. Take a listen to this clip. Let me pull up the clip. All right, here we go.
Stop talking about your relationship to other people. When you get married, form a two-handed circle. Don't let nobody else in that circle. Because if you let your mama in, she gonna mess it up. You can't let your friends in, they gonna mess it up. Form a two-handed circle, don't let nobody in it. Stop talking about your relationship.
That little bit of a clip is from one of his shows. You guys know Steve Harvey has an amazing talk show. And a lot of times he segues from people asking questions about relationships. And he wants to kind of give them some wisdom on how to execute and handle relationships. Now, Taylor, some people would say Steve is not a good candidate to listen to when it comes to relationship because he's already been married like 3 or 4 times. This is like his third wife or something, right? So people always are so judgmental and so critical of individuals that have had more than one spouse. However, sometimes that's just the person that you need to hear from. You know, they might have a little bit of something, just a little bit of knowledge about that thing called a relationship. So we want to unpack it. So Taylor, I know you got the clip and I know you heard what he said. There were so many comments that individuals did not agree with what he said. So I took the initiative. You know how I do. I like to do my research.
Absolutely.
And I took the initiative to kind of give a little bit of pointers about it. And before we went live, you made a comment about one of your employees. And interestingly enough, in my research, it talks about that. So we're going to tap right into this tonight. So here's the deal. When it comes to being married, should you form a two-handed circle and exclude everybody else? Should there only be you and your spouse in the equation of that relationship? Is there a risk involved in doing so? Or is there a reward involved? So we're going to unpack it. It may take us a couple weeks to unpack it, but we're going to start it off tonight. So Taylor, what is your first instinct when you saw that video? What was the first thing that came to your mind?
Facts. I was like, keep your mouth shut. You know, one thing that we as human beings love to do is show off. We love to spread the word, especially when we have something good. You know, we have a good job. We want to tell everybody what our title is. You know, we live in a nice neighborhood. We want to show off, right? And I think that a lot of people shows off when it comes to relationship, especially on social media, right? And the, I'm not going to say the funny thing. I'm going to choose my words very carefully.
Proceed with caution, Taylor.
The things that I've seen is that the person that you celebrate on social media sometimes is not the person is still in your life 3 months, 6 months later. And then you have to kind of backpedal, or you go ghost from social media. And my thing is this, the people still see, the thing is, let me just say this, right? When you make a post about somebody that you're in a relationship with, right? You want to off, you want to advertise, right? To you, the person is gone because you might have, went through whatever, your separation, your what have you. But to others, the person still exists because we haven't seen that little. See, here's, oh my goodness. I'm so excited about this conversation.
You fired up. You like, wait a minute.
I'm fired up because here's one thing that I am not good at. When I get information download, and for me, I'm a spiritual person, right? So I get the information that pops in my mind, right? So here's a big Koffe. People advertise when they're in something good, but they don't advertise when they're in something bad. See, so here's the thing, right? So you're advertising to everybody that, oh, you have the best person in your life and what have you, right? And so when you go through that walking away phase, everybody else still thinks that you're with that person because you ain't open your mouth to nobody when you're leaving, but you want to open your mouth to everybody when you got something. And that's the thing, right? So you just got to be careful of sharing your information to the public, right? And then my thing is this, if you're going to share and brag on who you got, when you don't get them, you need to share and brag that you don't got them anymore. And I'm going to leave it right there.
Listen, now, you know that most human beings are not interested in talking about a dissolved relationship. You already know that. That's not going, that's not the, the thing that people magnify when it comes to the social platforms. That's not what people magnify. They magnify everything that's grits and gravy in their life, and the stuff that's spilled, that caused all kind of problems in an avalanche. They're not going to talk about that part. So let's unpack this even further. When it comes to relationships, you said something paramount. You said keep your mouth closed. There is a risk attached to keeping your mouth closed. And that is if you're dealing with someone who has some type of issue that could cause detriment to yourself, your livelihood, your children, other family members, other friends, so on and so forth. So there has to be a line drawn in the sand about what is acceptable to share and what's not acceptable. So I got a little list on it. We're going to elaborate on this stuff, Taylor. We're going to talk about this. So one of the first things that I want to say is when it comes to the intimate space of your relationship, divulging sexual aspects of your relationship is a automatic no-no. That conversation is not a healthy one with anybody, to be quite frank, because you're subjecting your person to a party that they're not privy to, or they've not given permission for you to divulge personal things about them. What if you're dealing with somebody who has erectile dysfunction? Do you know how offensive that is for him to know that when he walks in a room with your girlfriends, that all of them know that he has erectile dysfunction? That is not fair to divulge that type of information. The second part of that, on the good side of the spectrum, is if you're talking about how he laying the pipe and he's a pipe laying fool and your husband is out there killing it in the sheets. Well, some of the daughters, they got issues. And the fact that they're not experiencing what you suggest you're experiencing leads them to want to have that experience. And guess who they want to have it with? The person you just expressed about. They want that same experience because you said how good old boy is in bed. So now they're craving that same experience. Oh, that's a huge problem. That's a no-no. Talking about any aspect of your intimate parts of your relationship is an automatic no-no. Now, if there's some abuse going on to where that person may be assaulting you or doing something harmful that is to your detriment, then you have to have someone, that one specific person that you've built trust and a rapport with, to safely share. However, it's still a very, very thin line. So you got to know when to draw that line in the sand. And I think, Taylor, most people don't understand the line in the sand when it comes to this aspect of their relationship. You are a toxic-based specialist. You deal with toxicity as far as relationships are concerned, and helping people to remove themselves from high-risk scenarios. So what is something that you would recommend to someone who has a problem with oversharing? They're pretty overzealous and they just get excited and they want to share. What would you recommend to them when it comes to the physical aspects of their relationship with their person, about their sexuality? What would you say to somebody like that who is an oversharer and they just be excited? Girl, he was in there. Oh, girl. What would you say to somebody like that? And they're doing it innocent. They're innocent. It's innocent communication in their mind's eye. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I think they got a problem. And be honest with you. And I kind of tie it with the one upper. And I know, and what I mean by the one upper is that when you have something to talk about, I have to beat you. It's called control. This is the toxic friend, right? So, and I'm not trying to go into another area. it's parallel, right? And so that person loves to share. That person gloats. That person get off. It's kind of a high drive. I think that when it comes to people that love to overshare, it's because they it's because they love attention. Okay. The thing is, how do you get attention? By talking. You don't get attention by just going to work, keeping your mouth shut, taking care of your family, not advertising the things you have. But I have to have people to see me, right? And so that goes deeper than just keeping your mouth shut. That's because maybe growing up as a child, you were the last one and you didn't get no attention. Right. And so now you crave the attention. Is attention cravers. And that's what this social media has caused. People that want to post, oh, how great their relationship is. This is what my husband did. This is, how we just came out of Black History Month. Black love. You saw all the relationships that's posted on what my husband did for me and what he cooked for me and stuff like that. And I'm not saying not to be happy and not to be, grateful for these things, but really, why are you doing it? You can be grateful without saying anything. How about overshare to the individual that you are with? How about that? Because I don't think those people that are oversharing, those people that are talking to their friends and posting on social media, that person don't even have a clue how much you care about them, how much
That's true.
Them.
That's very true.
You love them.
That's very true. And you're right about that. They had this, I was probably a couple months ago, I was looking at this clip from a podcast and the name of it escapes me, but they were talking about just that. The guy was saying, I don't feel loved by you, right? I feel like you respect me, but I don't feel like you love me. And she said, I talk about you all the time. I tell all my friends about you. He said, right. You tell them, but you don't tell me. So what you just said is like super true. The person that is showering is not being showered in exchange for what they've invested in you. And that happens a lot in relationships. And more so from the perspective of women not expressing their adoration for the man, because unfortunately, some of us think that is an expectation that he does A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we have this mindset to say, oh, well, that's what you're supposed to do. No, that's not true. We should be grateful for everything our person does to add value to us. They don't owe us anything, but we should anticipate receiving everything because that's our person. And in hopes of that, and in hopes of having those positive experiences, it is smart to always celebrate that person and say, babe, I thank you. You know, when I got up this morning, I was so tired and I really didn't feel like washing the dishes. When I came in the kitchen, you had the kitchen spotless. And that means everything to me. Thank you for that. Or, you know, babe, I was going to go to the store to get the water. I told you that I would, and I failed to do so. I saw when you pulled up, but when you pulled out, I was like, where is he going? You came back with several cases of water. Babe, thank you. That was you that you did that. And I appreciate that. And more when we find ourselves doing that, and like you said, oversharing with that person, you know what happens? It's the same concept as how we worship and praise God. Then blessings start flowing into you. They start running into you like water because that person, they want to feel what they feel when you express your love for them, genuine authenticity. And they're going to keep pouring in because they like to, everybody likes to feel loved, respected, acknowledged, and admired. Everybody wants to be loved. By whom is a different subject, but everybody wants to be noticed, heard, seen. Every human. It's a part of our makeup. It's just the nature of humanity. However, like you said earlier, Taylor, expressing all this on social media to people who really don't care, to be honest with you, or people who are in competition with you that you don't even realize they competing with you, or people who wish they had what you had, who are envious of you. You got all these different energies coming from all kind of places that are really interrupting your relationship instead of adding to it. And I don't think people realize that. Too much information brings opposition. It's too much.
You know, I want to say this because I saw a comment on the line that said that how, you know, people are happy, they're joyful, and they would like to share with other people, and I completely understand. I'm going to give some solid information and some solid tips that can help these viewers that's listening to this conversation. Three things. Communication, sex, and money are the three areas that destroys a relationship. Those are the same three areas that I'm speaking to everybody that's listening to this program that you do not need to divulge to anybody else. Those three areas that is sacred, that can destroy your relationship, you need to keep that to yourself. No one should know about anything sexually about your partner. No one should know anything financially about your partner. And no one should know any communication patterns that you have with your partner.
Right.
Those same areas that can destroy your relationship is those same areas that other people can destroy with your relationship.
Very true. So that's interesting you said that. That's too interesting because that's one of the main things. So my first thing was, do not share about your partner's traumatic life experiences. That is privileged information. If they wanted someone else to know, they would have shared it with them themselves. If your person has something adverse to happen when they were younger, what's more embarrassing than them getting mad, your friend getting mad at you and saying, oh, and by the way, I heard you had this mental defect and you on psychotropic meds. You never know. And can you imagine how your person is going to feel if that were to happen? talk about a breach of trust. That is a huge breach of trust. Huge, huge, huge. Then to divulge someone's financial state of existence that you're in a relationship with, that's another thing, like Taylor said, that is just solely inappropriate to divulge with other people. Because when you do these things and you put this information out, you don't understand the state, the mental state of the person you're sharing the information with. You may assume that the person is okay, the person is good, the person has great intentions, the person would never repeat the information, but there is no way for you to be 110% certain of that. You don't have the capacity or the ability to guarantee that somebody is not going to take the information you give them and share it with someone else. It can be so dangerous that that person, especially if they're dealing with something medical, whether it's psychological or physical, it could cause problems in areas of their lives that they don't need magnified. So, in all fairness, you want to have that level of respect and integrity to do like what Steve Harvey said, put that twofold cord in your marriage so that it's impenetrable. One thing about marriage is you are connected to that person. It's only you and them. That's all a marriage really is. You're not getting in bed with you, your spouse, your mama, your children, your friends, your cousin, your aunties, your uncles, your colleagues, all this stuff. They don't go to bed with you two. It's you and your mate that are in that bed. That bed represents intimacy. It represents commitment. It represents covenant. It represents peace. It represents loyalty. It represents trust. It represents honesty. It represents integrity. The bed represents so much more than you and I going to sleep. That is sacred, meaning that what happens in that bed chamber, whether you're physically in the bed or not, you got to always think about it from the perspective of, I am always my spouse's keeper. I am always going to cover my spouse. When I uncover my spouse, it's because there is danger that lies ahead. Other than that, I will never uncover my spouse. If there's danger that lies ahead, I am going to be certain that when I make the decision to divulge, that is to a healthy source that can help us, not harm us further. And that's what we are missing relationally. You know, I cringe because I listen to people talk about other people's relationships, right? And I think to myself, well, if they telling me about this other person's relationship, I wonder what they've told somebody else about times when I told them about my relationship. And I think about that now more so than ever. And I've become extremely quiet when it comes to my personal relationship. It's almost to the point where I don't have nothing to say at all, good, bad, or indifferent, because I really, really, really feel that I've lost opportunities, Taylor, because of divulging too much information in
True.
my yesteryears. And it's immature to do so. Very immature.
Yeah, 100%. I think that we need to learn to just be quiet. Period, point blank. I think that we talk too much. Um, and it's just so funny because even in arguments, we tend to talk a lot, right? Just kind of.
And we tend to speak of arguments, and
Hmm.
I'm going to be quiet. That is the one area that we have to learn how to fight properly. It's like a boxing match. And the reason why I really love referees, Taylor, is because they understand when you've gone too far. They reel you right on back in. However, when you having a sore disagreement with your person, there's no one to reel you back in but you. So you got to be emotionally intelligent in order to fight fair with your partner. I can't get into an argument with you, Taylor, about something you did today and bring up everything that happened since 1985. That is not fighting fair. And it's offensive, to say the least, that you're keeping this track record.
Exactly.
Things that I've done that you stated you forgave me about. You said you forgave me. So now here it is. I feel like I'm being charged with all these offenses that don't have nothing to do with what we're talking about today. What happened today? This is what happened today. This is the issue, is what happened today, not in 85.
Yeah, you just got to walk away. I think that there are people out there that will poke you and ignite you. You know, they know how to get under your skin. I've dealt with some of those individual, and you just got to cut them off. And for me, my personality, I'm not going to keep my mouth shut, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go toe to toe with you, man. I'm a fire, right? But I've learned to kind of control that. And so now, like I said, I just kind of just walk away. I'll cut the conversation off and just say have a good day, and keep it moving. And if I feel like addressing it at a later time, I'll address it at a later time. And sometimes it doesn't constitute you to address anything. It's just time to just kind of keep it moving. But going back to these relationships and talking about your business, like I said, there's people that and it's so funny because we're talking about our partner, our husbands, our spouse, about things that is not even have nothing to do with us. You're gloating and you're talking about how much money your husband make. It's his money. Let him talk about it. Why are you talking about it? Yeah, you might. Well, it's our money, but he's the one that's making the money.
Well, he's the earner of the resources, and we're just benefiting from his earnings, which is not anybody's business, because there are certain lines, like we talked about, in the sand that are not supposed to be drawn. And that can be something, and you got to be so careful, because unless you're dealing with somebody who's in the public eye, which the public is privy to the amount of resources that they have, then other than that, it's not public information. If it was public knowledge, then it would be posted somewhere in public where I could just click a button and see what your income is. Certain type of roles or certain type of positions, we all know what they earn. We know what teachers earn. We know what firemen earn. We know what police officers earn. Public servants are pretty much outside of like athletes and entertainers. Public servants are pretty much the only positions where exactly what they earn, or at least a roundabout figure. Because some of us get stipends if we're coaches and different kind of clubs and stuff like that, or if we're in fine arts, we have different compensation for those roles, so on and so forth. So you can have a generalized concept of what someone is earning. However, for more private companies that are not government based, you won't ever know what people earn unless they divulge it. And it's very unfair for you to do that, because you think about this. What if your spouse feels like they're not earning what they really want to earn? What if they feel like they're being devalued or they're under earning for the role that they're in? Do you know that is embarrassing? For them to know that you're sharing that with somebody else, they are totally embarrassed. And if they find out that you've done that, it's a breach. It's a breach of trust. It's a huge one.
True story. I was a young lady, 2008, and she was going to her class reunion, her college class reunion, and we worked at the same place. We worked for the Central Intelligence Agency. Okay.
Mm.
I don't talk about that when I was working for them, right? I don't advertise that I'm working for the CIA, right?
Right.
So I went to her class reunion, whatever. We're at a restaurant and we're doing a meet and greet, and the guy comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, so I heard that you work at the CIA. So how is it?" I was like, first of all,
I would have been like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you heard. I would have started doing like 50 Cent. Remember 50 Cent song? I don't know what you heard about me.
I is that
That
I
is
look,
crazy. That's crazy.
I made contact with her, and she knew right then and there that this is not cool. Like, it really made me think, why did she have to divulge that information to show that, the man that she's talking to or dating is doing big things? Like, I just didn't understand why that had to be a conversation. Just, you could say I had a job. You could say, what is my skill? Maybe I'm an engineer or cybersecurity or what have you. But did you have to divulge that name that that's supposed to stay sacred because is attached to a high clearance? Like, it was just, and you know you hear this over and over and over. And like I said, a lot of people just love to show off. They love to be in a high. For me, I'm gonna say this: that same individual was earning like 3 times more than I was earning, because she was a government contractor, right? So she was earning a lot of money. I didn't go around to my friends. I didn't go around to my friends and say, she have designer purses and BMWs and, her own house at a young age. Like, I didn't tell any of my.
Because that's not anybody's business.
It's
Unless
no,
she decided that she wanted to be a business.
exactly. When we're going to a restaurant, we're going to a fine restaurant. When we're driving in the BMW, that's the time to say, wow, this is a nice car. Like, I'm in a BMW. I don't have to advertise it. But see, here's the thing. You can tell what people's focus are. See, for materialistic things are a necessity, something that we need clothes. Yeah, we might not need high designer clothes, but maybe for comfort. But I don't need to share these information with nobody. That stuff means nothing. Warren Buffett. He drives a Cadillac.
And he's so chill. The dude, he's like the worst dresser ever. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Now, there's, I'm still connected to, although I'm over at a new ministry, I'm still connected to Lakewood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Pastor Joel is like, he's like, when I say he's predictable, I know he's gonna have on a blue, gray, or a black suit. Ain't nothing else he's gonna have on. He's gonna have on blue, gray, or black. And I know he's gonna have on same kind of shoes that he wears every single Sunday. Like, every time I can tell you exactly what he's gonna be wearing. Now, he got all these other options, but he's just like, not tied to it. You know what I mean? So, like, it's so funny because my son was saying that. He said, have you ever noticed that people who are really affluent, especially the guys, not so much as y'all women, he was like, y'all flashy anyway, not y'all. Yeah. But he said, for the most part, affluent men, they're affluent because they're basic. And he was like, a lot of them don't live in these big old houses.
Nope.
They drive vehicles that are good on gas, good for city drive. They literally, I often think about that book, The Millionaire Next Door. And it's so crazy because in my neighborhood, a billionaire, he lives in the region, right? He has a house around the corner from me, like literally, right? He is a billionaire. And you know what he said? The reason why I purchased a property in this community is because I felt safe. He said, I felt safe. I know that nobody here is going to be all up in my face trying to smother me or, and he was like, I feel safe. And I just was like, dude, that's so dope. He was like, in my world, whenever I'm in the light for business, he's a business guy. He was like, I get sick of it because people don't realize that I'm not the money. I earned the money, but I'm not the money. I am just a conduit of it. I was just fortunate that I was entrusted by the creator with this amount of access. However, I'm not tied to it to the point where I got to be I got to be seen. Y'all need to know I got, and this is what I got because this is what I'm wearing all of my resources. And that's not how affluent people think. Now, women by nature, we're much more flashy because it's just the nature of being a woman. We're more adorned. That's a part of being a woman. For the most part, we're adorned. We like to be attractive and outwardly adorn ourselves. That's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
However, there's still a thin line because you can't be adorned in every environment. It's not appropriate. You know what I mean? So, which goes alongside with relational stuff. Some things are not appropriate, and you got to know what is appropriate. It's funny, Taylor, because I went to an event recently, and when I was preparing for the event, I had to think through what I was going to wear. I said, well, I know who's going to be present at this particular event, so I had to make sure that my attire matched the opportunity. Had I wore something different, it would not have matched the opportunity, and neither would I have been able to build rapport with the individuals that were there. And I sat and I thought about that for a while, and because I did this event was after that video clip, and I said to myself, I said, just imagine how had I worn this, what would have happened? You can think about that for your relationship. Just imagine had I said this, what would have happened? Just imagine had I given out this information, what would have transpired? Some things we just have to learn are just not appropriate for public. It's just not appropriate. And like you said earlier, Taylor, as hard as it is to accept a dissolved relationship, it's hard to accept that, especially one that you built and you fostered and you've put the work in, the time, the energy, the effort. You had a certain amount of longevity and you thought that this was going to be your person for the balance of your human days. It's hard to have to address that in the public. It's challenging enough dealing with it in private, but to have to deal with it in public can almost be to the point where you're just heartbroken over and over and over and over again because everybody knows your business. Everybody.
But you know what's so funny is that I don't think we think about this person is an amazing individual and we broadcast it and look what this person have done for me. And then when the person let you down and it's public, right? That's even worse.
Yeah.
He makes so much money, she makes so much money. And then when the job ends or the business closes or you're getting sued, then that's an embarrassment to the public.
It is.
And that's why I say just keep your mouth shut. I'm sorry.
And sometimes, and like I said, you're gonna have to deal with the people in your intimate space. You're gonna have to deal with making those phone calls, to your family saying, hey, me and John, we didn't make it. And, just give me some space to have to deal with the dissolution and everything. I really don't want to have a lot of conversations about it. Let me just handle this privately. One of my friends recently who is in the public eye, he went through a very, very painful dissolution of marriage. I'm talking about real painful, but because he's in the public eye, I love that he put out a post and he said, I need the grace to get through this. So please extend me that grace. And he made it to where there was no comments. You couldn't comment on it or nothing like that. So he closed out the comments and he was like, I am hurting bad right now. This was something I thought that me and my person would be together until we left this earth. It's not turning out that way. So I really, really need some grace to get through this. I just solicit your prayers, right? And I love how he did that because he couldn't help but be in the public because of his life and who he is. So he was stuck in the public. He didn't have a choice. Yeah. But I love how he did what you said. the same way he celebrated her, talked about her all the time, and not oversharing, but that was his wife. He loved his wife,
Yeah.
right? And he wanted the world to know that how much he loved his bride. But I do respect the fact that he went back and made a post like that to say, hey, please give me the grace to get through this and I'll be back. Probably about maybe, I think it was about probably about 90 days or so later, because he has to stay engaged because of what he does for a living. But when he showed back up, he said, thank y'all. Everybody that messaged me, everybody that connected with me, it was caring concern. It was not people being nosy, trying to figure out what happened or whatever. And I love how he just covered her, because she's the one with the infraction. She's the one that did something that I'd have been like, oh, let me pack your stuff for you right now, so you can go and get on out of here. Go on, let me pack you up, because if I don't pack you up, it might be a real situation up in there. So let me go ahead and help you pack. Matter of fact, no, don't you come up in here. I'll pack it for you, and it's gonna be. I'm talking about, it's gonna be packed nice and neat. Okay, you're not gonna be missing nothing, because I want all your stuff out of here. Everything that looks, smell, taste, feel, and I can see that came from you, it's going out that front door. Okay, it was that kind of offense that this lady did to him, and it was sad, but life happens.
Yeah, it's sad. I had something I had to say, and it slipped me. But I think that when it comes to all of this, we just got to be cognizant of the things that we say, and we got to really do some deep down diving to figure out, why are we saying this? Like, what are we, what am I getting out of saying this? Is it to feel good? Because I know when you're talking about something that's amazing that's happening to you, maybe you never had a man to take care of you. Let's just use that for example, right? So now you, and maybe your inner circle, your girlfriends, see the bad relationships that you've had, and now you have a good relationship and you got to tell it. But I mean, do you have to go into detail and say he broke your back last night? Like, I don't think like you have to go that deep.
Listen, if you tell one of the daughters that he broke your back last night, she gonna be looking for him to break hers tomorrow. She gonna be like, let me slide over there and holler at y'all. I'm gonna come for every cookout till I can cook out. I'm coming for every event y'all have, because you say he did what? He blew your back out. You around here, you that's what he did. You show right. I'm gonna be right on over there for the next family cookout. You show right, and I'm gonna make sure that I holler at old boy, because that's what you said he did to you. I'm anticipating him breaking my back too.
It always surprises me when you hear people that's in the limelight that is like, I want my privacy, I want my privacy. And I understand, but on the same coin, I don't understand. Because
Well, Denzel got his privacy.
No, 100%. But see, here's the thing. This is what I love about Denzel. He ain't posting his wife all over and saying every step of the way.
That's true.
See,
You know what? You're right. It's a rare. He will. Now, you know what? You just said something. He will, at any major event where he's acknowledged, he always affirms how blessed he is to have her, because she was the conduit that really sparked him getting where he is. I mean, she has been the catalyst for him to be super blessed. Then you got Morris Chestnut, ain't nobody all up in his life. Sanaa Lathan, ain't nobody up in her life. Nia Long got leaked by accident, because Nia don't be putting her stuff out there either.
Nope.
Yeah.
So
So you're right. They do, for certain individuals, they do the bare minimum of releasing information. You're right. You're right.
Information. And like I said, so if we digged and he needed space, okay, I could see that. But I'm talking about the influencers that is pushing. Like, I didn't ask you to push this stuff on my social media timeline, but you felt it was necessary to plaster my timeline with every inch of the way of your relationship. Cool. But then now when I'm asking you, hey, what happened to old girl because I haven't seen her? Now you want to say it's none of my business. No,
don't be asking me about my boo.
Nah, it is my business. Because I didn't care about who you was talking to, but you made it a duty to push it in our faces.
That's true.
And we accepted it as your followers.
That's true.
You don't want to talk about it. No, you owe us. You owe us as followers an explanation on what happened to old girl, and now you with Annie Mae. I had to say Annie Mae. I was gonna say that.
But that's true though. But I mean, and it's true because now, if you know, and that's the reason why what Steve said is so powerful. Let me run the clip again because we got new people coming in. I need to run the clip again so they can hear it. What he said is so true. It some people, when they listen to the information, they took it the wrong way. In my honest opinion, they were like, no, I was married to a narcissist and I got no, that ain't what he's talking about. You went way over. You talking about your own personal. This ain't a post for you to divulge all your pain from your baby daddy that you shouldn't married in the first place. You should have never slept with him. Almost cuss. You should have never slept with him in the first place. He was cuckoo for Cocoa Pops when you met him. Okay, so I mean, period. Okay.
Stop talking about your relationship to other people. When you get married, form a two-handed circle. Don't let nobody else in that circle, because if you let your mama in, she gonna mess it up. You can't let your friends in, they gonna mess it up. Form a two-handed circle. Don't let nobody in it. Stop talking.
Period.
And
when people started, somebody sent me a message and they was like, well, Koffe, you're a coach and da 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 da. And I know that I said, listen. Let me help you help yourself. When it comes to the intricate parts of your relationship, it cannot have external forces present. It is dangerous. Dangerous for the health of you, dangerous for the health of your partner, danger for the longevity of that partnership. If you intend on being married for any length of time, successfully, healthy, happily married, you have to learn how to refrain from divulging information. It's like let me tell you something. And one of my mentors is in the comments, Dr. Kai. I remember when we first started communicating, we met through Clubhouse, and then she and I kind of forged this bond. And then over time, she whenever I really need, she'll really impart wisdom into me. But at the same time, while she's doing that impartation, she says, I recommend you not tell anybody while you're building out this, while you're building out that, while you're putting this together. I wouldn't do a lot of talking about it. Mm-hmm. And she often says that I would not do a lot of talking about it. You know why? Because the more that you do that, you open up the ability for attacks to come towards you. It's not a smart idea. It's like me saying that, like perfect example. It's like me being on the cusp of something massive in some massive breakout, right? That I'm getting ready to experience. Then I prematurely post something on social media. And somebody who hates my guts, who cannot stand me, turns around and does something that causes a delay in that process. Because I divulged and I gave out too much too fast. It's the same. I'm gonna tell you it's the same thing as when I was expecting. Perfect example. When I was expecting those first 2 trimesters, if you were not in the core, you didn't know I was pregnant. It's 2 miscarriages are a normal. Like 1 out of every 4 pregnancies is a miscarriage, unless the statistics has changed recently. 1 out of every 4 pregnancies is a miscarriage. You know how painful it is to have to go back to a public setting and say, I'm no longer pregnant. I lost my baby. That's painful. It's painful enough to deal with it privately, but now I got to go deal with it with everybody in the world knowing that I was pregnant. They didn't need to know I was pregnant until I was for certain that that baby was going to come to full term. And in most instances, once you get past that second trimester, you smooth sailing. You know, so it's just certain times that we have to be aware of what cannot be divulged. And it takes maturity. Relationships are for mature people. It's for mature audiences only. And a lot of us, we want to be in a relationship. We want to be with someone, but we don't understand the requirement of what that really means. It is a requirement attached to relationship that a lot of us are not really ready for. You know, it's so important. And that's why it's so important to vet properly, you know, to vet properly, to get to know somebody, to pay attention to their characteristics, to pay attention to what it is that they do before they got to you. How much are they giving out right now? How much do you know about them, about their personal lives? Are you able to pull up their timeline and tell where they've been the last 5, 10 years? Do you know about all their children's daddies? Do you know about all their children's mamas? Do you know about when they went to work, what path they took to get there, how long it took them to get there? Do you know all of that? If you are dealing, and this is a good way to gauge the probability of somebody leaking, is by how much they divulge currently before they get to you. If you can't tell who they with, then you might have a good person that you can deal with. If you can't look on their timeline and trace Bill, Jack, Jim, Calvin, Kenny, Timmy, Taylor, Tom,
Hey,
James, if you can't trace all the people, and then Sally, Sue, Shawnette, Tamika, Tamara, Monet, Renee, you know, if you cannot tap into their relationships on social media, you might have a good candidate. You just might.
well, I'll tell you this. The only thing I'm leaking is if you're toxic and we ain't talking no more.
Toxic Bay. Toxic Bay alert.
Look, you are going to be a segment on my podcast.
Period. Period, sis.
No names. I ain't gonna divulge no names, but scenarios and example for days.
Listen, I'm notorious for doing it. Listen, we didn't been on this. I have had this talk show for 5 years, and you better believe that I have talked about somebody's son. But guess what? Y'all don't know the son. Y'all don't know who he is. Y'all ain't gonna never know who the son is because it ain't none of your business.
You know why? Because you ain't post them all over your social media for them to know.
Listen, I told this one guy, he said to me, "Oh, I seen guys on your timeline." I said, "If you seen a dude on my timeline, it wasn't my man." He said, "What?" I said, "Oh, you don't know me very well." I said, "If you seen a dude on my timeline, it was not my man." It's like, but y'all was hugging for the camera. Did it for the gram. You did it for the gram. And they was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, because you ain't gonna, don't nobody know if I'm married, if I'm single. They don't really know unless you know me.
100%.
If you know me, you know. If you don't, you don't. The end.
Exactly.
But whoever I belong to or the like thereof, yeah, it won't be up on the social media church.
Period. And that I talk to that want me to plaster their picture all over my social media, see ya.
Negative Nancy. I ain't gonna be able to do it. I met a guy who said to me, Taylor, he said, if we get into a relationship, I said, let me tell you something. You're gonna be the one that has that hand. You ever seen the pictures where the girl had to do with the hand? He be eating his food. You know, I'm talking about the girl. She talking about her man, and his hand in the picture.
Yeah.
You gonna be that person. Because I promise you, if my face pop up on your stuff,
Oh,
it's gonna be a problem. I'm talking about an ugly, ugly situation that you don't even want to find yourself in, sir, kind sir. So I said, matter of fact, I told him, Taylor, I said, let's do this for the sake of preserving the solid friendship that we have. How about we don't take it no further? Because you gonna make me cuss you out.
exactly.
And I stopped cussing about 4 years ago. And I really honestly have been working on the daughter of Zion. So I don't want to turn back to that person that I was purging out so I could be more mature. Because if you want to deal with her, I don't like her. That's why I purged her out. So I don't want to go back to that. And if you try to take me back there, we can't be together. And it feel like you're trying to take me back there.
Exactly.
I feel like that's where you're trying to take me to. I'm feeling stirred up right now. And I was like, I'm not going back to that person. I don't want to be. I just don't want to be her no more. Yeah. And he was like, but I said, no, dude. I said, the fact that you just literally did not honor the line I drew in the sand, the boundaries by the conversation, then I already know what you're gonna do. And we're not having it. Not at this church. Now at other churches, all other churches, you can do whatever you want. But at this church, we don't do that. We don't do that right here. Not at this church. Yeah, because I'm telling you, right now, I love my woman and I want the world to know. I said, you know what? I tell you what, you let the world know about somebody else's daughter. Because I'm not her. Praise God. You go out there, you find you a daughter that can walk in agreement with you, like the Bible says, and find a daughter that's going to agree with you and take that daughter and tell all her business. Praise God. Amen.
And you know what? And that same individual will ruin every journey that you're on because they don't know how to handle abundance.
And let me tell you something about the son. The young man, the son of man, one of the sons of man. This boy didn't have 4 wives. And I said, I see why you didn't have 4 wives. You talk too much.
Yeah.
And you a grown man. You're a whole grown man and you didn't have 4 wives and you talk too much. So I told him, I said, if you thought I was going to be number 5, the devil's a hot lie from hell. I said, I ain't going to be able to do it. I can't be nobody's 5th wife. That don't even sound right. How am I gonna be your 5th wife? How many? I said, these ladies dead or something? Because if you killing them off, I definitely don't want to be your wife. No. It just didn't work out. No, sir. Ain't no such thing as 4 marriages not working out, sir. You not making sense.
Exactly.
I had to be like, you ain't making no sense, sir. Something is going on with you which prohibits you from keeping a woman. You can get the woman, but as far as keeping a daughter, you can't keep none of the daughters of Zion. And I want to be kept. So because you can't keep, I can't be a part of your harem. It's like you got a harem going on, sir. Yeah.
True. But
yeah, it's not like you're polygamous on the slide.
You know what?
You're doing it one at a time.
He'll find another wife because like we're talking about this program, people want to advertise that I got a man.
Absolutely.
I'm married.
Absolutely. Facts. Taylor, can you believe the hour is gone already?
Oh man.
We was just getting hot, man. We was just getting hot. The car was just warm enough for us to pull off in the snowstorm.
The snowstorm.
You know, being from Michigan, you know how long it takes to heat that darn car up. By the time you heat the car up, the gas gone. Like you be like, how long we gotta heat the car up? Hey, it take time. It take time.
Goodness.
So listen, thanks everybody. We had TikTok in the building. We had YouTube in the building, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and everybody was in the building tonight. Everybody was in the building. We got comments all over the place. So it was a great show. We had a lot of people to come hang out with us. So thank you for being present with us. And we're going to be back next week with another dope topic. We might end up expounding on this even more because it's still a lot more to unpack. Just maybe. But until then, we bid you grace, peace, and blessings for you and your family. It's only Tuesday. So we hope that you guys end the week extremely strong and that everything works out just as you've seen it in your imagination for the good. Good night, everybody. God bless. And we'll see you guys again next week.